To cut and bend PVC conduit successfully, you will need a few special tools. A pipe vise is needed in order to firmly secure the conduit during cutting. The cut is made using a hacksaw. A deburring tool is used for removing the burrs from within the conduit after it has been cut. Bending springs are an essential during the bending process of PVC conduit to prevent kinking. The bending spring is inserted into the conduit at the point where the bend is to be made. This supports the conduit and prevents it from kinking or collapsing when the conduit is bent. Now let us take a look at the basic types of bends that will be used. The most common bend used in conduit wireways is the 90-degree set. This bend is used between vertical and horizontal runs of conduit, and it is fairly easy to produce. The radius of the 90-degree set should not be less than 3 times the external diameter of the conduit. So, if you are using conduit which has an external diameter of 20 millimeters, then the radius of the 90-degree set should not be less than 60 millimeters. This is a double set. Double sets are generally used on surface-mounted installations, for example where conduit enters distribution boards, switch boxes and socket boxes. It is important that the double set is bent in such a way that the conduit above and below the set remain parallel to each other, so that the conduit can enter the connection boxes squarely. We shall now look at how to create bends in a section of PVC conduit. For purposes of demonstration, we shall first look at making a 90-degree bend. A profile of the section required has been marked out accurately on the floor. This can also be drawn upon a wall or any other flat surface. The required length of conduit is determined according to the dimensions of the profile. In practice, we would allow a little extra to accommodate shrinkage by the bend. We can always trim off surplus, but a length that is too short will require remaking. Next, we place our conduit onto the profile, as demonstrated, and mark the center position of the bend. Select the correct size bending spring for the conduit to be bent, and attach a length of wire to the eye of the spring so that it can be extracted after the bend has been made. As a guide to how far we must insert the spring, hold the spring against the conduit so that its center is at the bending mark. Now, simply make a kink in the wire at the top end of the conduit. Insert the spring. Push it all the way down until the bend in the wire contacts the end of the conduit. In this way, you will be sure that the spring is positioned correctly. PVC conduit is easier to bend if it is warmed up slightly. Simply rubbing it with your hand will soften it sufficiently. Begin the bending process by placing the mark against your knee and giving an even pull on both ends. Complete the bend as demonstrated. Notice that the action is made in one continuous smooth motion, and that the ends overlap slightly at the bottom of the action. When released, the conduit will be very close to the desired 90-degree angle, when checked against the profile. Small adjustments are made as required by hand. To remove the spring, fold the wire to create a handle. Remove the spring carefully using a simultaneous twisting and pulling motion. Don't simply pull the spring, as this will stretch it and render it unusable for the next time you need it. The knee becomes a useful tool when creating an offset bend as well, and with practice you will be able to create neat and accurate bends. All bends, when completed, should be smooth and free of kinks. Now, let us review what we have covered in this section. We discussed two common bends used with PVC conduit, namely the 90-degree set and the double set. We also covered the procedures for bending PVC conduit, which are as follows: measuring and marking to a profile, inserting a bending spring into the conduit, bending the conduit, and removing the bending springs.